Hello, everybody, and welcome to another crazy day. So, the banks are having a lot of problems these days. We're seeing that in the states, massive banks are failing. This is the second largest bank to ever fail in the United States. So, we have to make sure that we're paying attention to this. So, if we take a look at the news and try to see which bank it is, JP Morgan Chase is buying First Republic Bank. This is huge news. And so, a lot of people, you guys know that I am up in Canada. And so, when we're up in Canada, a lot of times we don't see this and we say, what happens in the United States, it stays in the United States. But that's not always the case at all, is because down in the United States, when Silicon Valley Bank went under, three Canadian banks lost $7 billion each. $20 billion altogether that they lost, which is massively insane. It is huge. So, this is going to have a lot of effects on Canada, no matter how we slice it, no matter what you want to say about it. And so, when we look at JP Morgan Chase, we see that they're buying First Republic. So, this is the United States' largest bank, which we're not really surprised out either. And it says customers will have full access to their deposits. So, this is important. And who's announcing this is the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. So, we got to know how this is actually behaving, how this is working. So, it says that the regulators yesterday seized First Republic Bank on Monday, and then they made JP Morgan Chase buy it. So, for what price? Well, we don't know yet. But what I find really interesting is exactly that the said the FDIC insurance took a $13 billion hit. In addition to that, they lost $20 billion for Silicon Valley Bank that went under before. So this is huge. Also, the $250,000 limits $250,000. This is per account, right? That that it is all insured. All of their deposits are insured, which is crazy to me. I can't believe this is even happening. So I think that we have to take a moment and really think about this, because where are we going? What type of world do we want to live in? So you and me and everyone else that doesn't have millions of dollars in one single bank account, we have to be asking ourselves, is this fair? Because it's us that is paying for the insurance for the entire system. Yet they're pulling out 13 billion for one bank, 20 billion for another bank, and then to top it all off, they're saying, "Oh, all right, guys, uh, all of you, all of your deposits will be covered, all of it." So even if you are over $250,000, they're like, "Don't worry, we got you covered." So they want no depositors ever to lose money. And this is the crazy chicken part that is out there. So at the end of the day, nobody will ever lose, even though they're only insured up to so much. I'd like you to try to pull that trick the next time that you are going to be talking to your insurance company, and then your insurance company is upset, and you're like, "Listen, guys, I don't care about the deductible. I don't want to hear anything about it." I mean, that's crazy chicken to me, the world that we're going into right now. So, this is going to have a lot of unintended consequences down the road. We feel that this is very unfair. How could you not? Now, this is going to affect Canada as well. But again, the last time that this came up, that a bank had actually collapsed, the last time this happened, they said, "Don't worry, we have the tools. We are the federal government. We can take care of this." This is what they said, in Silicon Valley Bank came out. And then what happened? Then what? Just what? A couple weeks later, another bank goes down, another bank. And now look at this one, First Republic, second largest bank failure in the world. And this all comes back to the fact that they do not have regulations for people that are under 250 billion. So remember the Glass-Steagall Act, like 100 years ago, this took care of all of that after the Depression. Also, the Frank Dodd Act took care of that until they were lobbied otherwise. So the question should be coming up over and over again is, should we be allowing lobbying on a regular basis for whatever government that is there, in order to take advantage of people? Because once you get into a situation where you could privatize the gains and socialize the losses, we are losing as a society, because it's in a system where the governments just want the banks to continue to make money over and over and over again, which is going to be a problem. And it's going to be a problem forever. So we have to look at, well, how much does the FDIC actually have? So the FDIC is the insurance in the United States. They have $128 billion, which sounds like a massive number, but is it? So this was in December, and this is before Silicon Valley Bank went down and Signature Bank. And what was that third one? There were three S's. And now First Republic Bank, and the second largest one ever. This is crazy that we're even talking about this. So this 100 billion is disappearing. So what do they have left? $50 billion. And they're now having to insure trillions of dollars with only 50 billion left in their war chest. I mean, that is nothing. And this is the trouble that we are going to be running into. So my advice to everybody is to try the best of your ability. Try to be on the ball with this, because a lot of weird stuff is going to be happening in not too far in the future. So that's where we are right now. I want you guys to know what is happening. And we're seeing at the same time, what are we seeing? We're seeing home prices actually going up. Now, this is going to be my area, and I'll show you different parts of Canada as well. We could talk about different places in the United States if you would like. But the prices are going up by a lot. And so I did a video on this where all those people have gained $50,000 just by doing this one step. So this is what I want for you guys, is to be safer, because this is not safe. So if you guys have any questions for me about markets, please let me know. So we have a comment that's mentioning here that Alberta is doing really well. Well, yes, Alberta. Let's pull up Alberta for you. Alberta has been doing very well, but remember what you said lately. So let's take a look at this. This is going back to 2006, and we're seeing that the prices are going way up. Okay, that's 06. But where is the 2017? Notice that there isn't a bubble there, just like it was for Toronto. This all comes down to because of the regulations where we were putting a ban on foreign ownership. So prices rocketed up during the recession, raising the rates up, pulled prices down. But by how much? 480 all the way down to 450. Ooh, $30,000. That's nothing. And now they're going back up. And why are they going back up? It's because mortgage rates are falling. So this is why. And absolutely, these price changes, 430 to 460 is the average, but people are lining up now in order to get more. So please remember, if you have any questions for me, I'd love to hear them. Please put them in your comments below, and I'm going to get to them. We'll continue to show you some more stuff here if you're interested in this type of thing. Let's take a look at a couple of comments. So Montreal Property Services, hey, how are you? At the end of the day, JP Morgan will just be working under the Rockefellers, just like every bank. So guys, this is what you got to understand, is that there's going to be a lot less banks in the United States. In Canada, we're probably going to be very, very, very similar. It's not going to change too much. But you have to look outside of the box a little bit and realize that they're not going to be thousands of banks anymore. A lot of them will go under now. Let's take a look here. Do you see this is the Alberta composite? So we can see how prices did go up a little bit here during 2020, 21, but nothing compared to what happened in Vancouver and Toronto, where we see the prices absolutely go cuckoo, especially Toronto. Toronto was the worst outlier that is out of there completely. Something is off with those banks. And Sebastian, this is it, is the rules got changed. Instead of having under 100 billion, you do what you want for the banks. They went to 250 billion. 250 billion, and under that, then you're not a systemically important bank. Well, what a crock that is because now we're having all these banks that are, under 250 billion, and they're collapsing, and they're costing the society a lot of money. They couldn't even get their funds. They're going to be able to get them now because nobody is losing any money, regardless of how much. Even though you're only insured for 250,000, remember, even though you're only insured for 250,000, they are just handing money out to everybody now, which is just crazy to me. All right, you guys, continue on. Alberta market is crazy, Fredo. Yeah, $200,000-$300,000 houses not going for anything under $500,000 now, depending on the home. I mean, that is very, very correct. Everything, prices are going up everywhere, and rents are going up everywhere. Thank you guys for the questions. We really appreciate it. If you want to know about Calgary, Calgary market specifically, let's pull up just Calgary. Calgary market is very, very, very like it is. Look at this. The Calgary composite matches identically to all of Alberta. This is for Katarina. The prices are exactly the same. They're barely fluctuating. So I understand that before 2020, what was the average price in Calgary was 410, and now it's 530. So I mean that is a big jump, 25%, right? But when we're going to look at a place like manic depressive Toronto here, 830 to 1.3. Unbelievable that type of going up. It's crazy to me. All right, 56-year-old with $500,000 currently getting 5%, but looking for suggestions. I always suggest everybody get into real estate. Real estate is the most powerful way for you to make money. And so this is for Sean. So let me show you something, and let's try to give you an idea of what I would say to do. I think that everybody should be trying to make some money like this, and you're going to need a calculator in order to do it. What we do with something like this is we want to, you notice here, just fill in the yellow cells. So if you take a property, we were looking at one, it was a sixplex for $600,000, and it rents for $6,300 per month. If you can get a good rental where you can break it up and do some labor to it, that property only had, watch how fast this is, $4,000 worth of property taxes per year. Property insurance was $350 per month. We also had lawn and snow for 2,000 bucks on that. I'm going to be very, very lazy. I want to make sure that I've property managed by another company. I want to make sure I have money put aside for vacancy and repairs. And our mortgage rate right now, I could get a 5.4% right now on a commercial loan. So look at that. I just typed in the numbers really, really quickly, and I'm going to make 38% in my first year. 38%. In 5 years, I'm going to make 245. So someone like Sean, who's 56, and he's mentioning he's making 5% now, which you can get on a treasury. Imagine making 38%. And this is the key. If you can figure out how to make 38% consistently, well, then you no longer have to work anymore. And so this is what we suggest that you do. Now, this has a principal pay down calculator for 20 years. It also has your capital cost allowance and your depreciation calendar for 20 years. It'll have your rent growth appreciation for 20 years, and this is structural inflation, not demand inflation. And then what it does is it puts those numbers for you together. So this does a couple thousand different calculations for you, but you don't need it all. All you need is this one number right here. So when anyone comes to me and asks me, look at this right here, you put down $120,000, 120, and you're going to make $2.1 million off of that property for 120. That's the math that you have to work for. This is the secret to everything. So just be laser focused on 1 year. If you're interested in this calculator, you can get it in the link or under my bio, either one. But this is how you're going to do it. This is how you're going to be able to become free, is with a calculator like that. So, how do commercial mortgages work based on personal incomes? Well, there's several types. So when we're talking about the interest rate on a commercial loan, something like that, when you're talking about that, it could come in a couple ways. Number one, they could base it off of you, yes, your personal income, or they have just based on the cash flow and your credit. And so if the place cash flows enough to pay the mortgage, then you're going to be okay. So if we want to get down into this, remember, we can actually find out exactly what the current cash flow is and optimum cash flow. And we can find out what the monthly mortgage is, $29.19. That's right here. So if we have $29.19, we know that's $2,009.19. I already know right here it's renting for $6,300. So I'm going to be fine. So that's going to be great. And that's where I think everyone's got to do this. And so what we do here is we figure out what gross rents are, and we want to find out what the gross rent is minus the mortgage minus property management and taxes and insurance and our utilities and our vacancy reserves. Oh, wait, look at this. Do you see this? I made a mistake. Owner paid utilities. I put 2000 per month. That was 2000 per year. Let's correct that and then see what the difference would make. 56% we're making now. 56%. So at the end of the month, right here, I'm going to make 38.61. So the whole thing here, guys, is this is a math game. And if you're good at math, if you understand math, you guys could do this, not a problem. Now, can I ask you guys something personal? If you guys are thinking about buying a property, I'd like to know why. I'd like you guys to tell me why and where you're looking. If you're thinking about selling your property, of course, you guys could always go to sellhigher.ca. That's where you can meet me and my team. And that's what we specialize in, is selling properties around the country. We have different affiliates that we use, and we especially work a lot in the Greater Toronto area. So you guys, let me know if that is it. And if you guys want to, you can always come on live with me right here and ask me questions directly if you want. If you're brave enough to come on live. Now, Sell Higher is where you can meet me. It's where we sell your home for more money, faster, and less hassle. It's a free consultation. But let's make sure that we're always paying attention to where the properties is. Well, Sean, if you cannot buy if you can't find a deal that is making sense financially, look outside of your town. That's what I would say. So look outside of your town, look outside of maybe even your area or outside of your province or state, look outside of your country even. Find deals, because the deals are what's going to make you the money. So if we took that exact same example, for example, let's try to pull up for him exactly what you're making. Where are you? If we buy two person in a single property, then we both would consider FSHB. Hello, sir. If we buy two person in a single property, then we both would be considered first. Okay. No, it doesn't work like that. So there's different plans, remember? So when you're going to be buying your first home, now this is for Canada specifically, when you're going to be buying your first home, there's a first time buyers program, and now there's a first home saving account that you can get where you can put money in. FHSA, right? First time buyer home account. And then there's the first time home buyer credit. There's a whole bunch of credits for it, right? So you can't do that when there's a couple, but there are some of the plans have just a singular person who's buying the property, and a combined if you're married. So there's credits, yes. Then there's the deal with the RRSP, which is like a Roth IRA in the United States, where you can borrow money from that if you're going to pay it back. That's a second thing. And then there's a third thing that just started this year, April 1, First Home Savings Account, FHSA. And that's, you could go buy stocks in that, and then you get to keep the profits tax-free, and it's a tax write-off as well. Yeah, it doesn't apply to commercial. It's for you to buy your own first home yourself, just to see how you're doing yourself. All right. So do you guys want to know some specific properties? If you do, I mean, you're in the right place for that. And let's take a look at a couple of the properties that are going on right now. So right here, you can see this is Vancouver is in red. Toronto is in the blue. But we're seeing a very clear pattern where prices were rocketing up when we had very, very low interest. The United States is identical to this. Massive drops in prices, and that's because of the interest rates, but they're coming back now. Again, it's because of interest rates. So when you look at Alberta and Calgary down below, it's the same thing, but very, very subdued. You know, it goes up a little bit and down a little bit, right? So this is what we can show you guys. And so this is what I want to know. And if you guys want to come on live with me, I would love to show you that. Do you guys have any questions specifically? You guys have any questions for me specifically? Not really, eh? What is the reason for prices going up? Well, that's a very good question. All right, let's show you. So, if you just any country that you want to go to, okay? So, let's just take the bond rate in Canada. It doesn't matter if you look at the United States either, but if you look at the back, okay, let's just go back 1 year. Whenever the bond rates are very, very low, that means that mortgage rates are low. And so, if mortgage rates are low, that means home prices go way, way, way up. The complete opposite is at the top of the mark. At the top of the mark is when interest rates are going to be very high, and that pushes home prices down. So you can see in this zone right here, after March here, this zone has happened because all these banks are going underwater. So as banks are dropping and going underwater, the bond yields are falling, and this is the profit margin that people want to get on their real estate mortgages, and they're not getting that anymore. So people are going to be in a lot of doo doo. So this is very, very interesting to me. And I hope that you guys are paying attention to this. All right, you guys. So this is 1 year. Yeah. Right here. This is a 1 year chart. And so this is important to know why this is happening in real estate, and prices are going way, way, way down. So let me know. What is the best way to invest in an FHSA? Well, remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a real estate broker. This is what I do. But you could put anything you want in it. You could put a GIC in it. You can put some type of a bond or a treasury. It's some of those. Like Sean here earlier was saying that he is paying 7%. No, 5% on that. And so you could put anything you want in here. Do you still think prices will drop later on, or do you see growth for now moving forward? Okay, well, that's a fair question. Well, you guys, again, take a look at this right here, where we're seeing property prices dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. And as they drop to abysmal prices, we've seen them come up this year. So as they've come up this year, what has this done? The prices are coming up because interest rates are going down, like we just noticed here. So why are they going up? This is very, very, very predictable that prices were coming down. But how predictable is it that the bank would have went down and accepted a lower amount of commission? That's more unpredictable. So how would we do that? That's a tough one, guys. This is a very, very tough one. I still think there's a lot more heartache that's going to come in real estate. So for me, this is way too much of a danger zone. So if we go back and just want to check out where the prices were and how far that they have fallen, please take a look here. Just not too long ago, a year ago, is 1.1 was the average price, and now it's sitting at 900,000. There's got farther way to go because the lag effect has not taken effect yet. 5% down is only for your first property. Yes. Sean, you said you're enjoying my company content. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for coming by. I'm a real estate broker myself. You can always, if you're thinking of selling your property, you can go to sellhigher.ca. You can do that. Thank you guys for the likes. We really appreciate it. Please send it to your friends as well if there's anything that's there. In addition to that, we have a course that is available. We have a workbook. We have a course on buying your first property. We also have another course on buying and selling gold, on how this is your ultimate hedge. We also have a podcast that you can follow us, and we have the investment calculator. So we have a lot of different things that could really help people along the way if you're trying to be serious about making sure that your life is going to be set up in a way that we're not going to get taken down by the banks. So we have to be careful. And so we're seeing home prices in all areas of the United States and Canada. Home prices are shooting up. And so I fully expect this to continue on. I expect that the bank rates, the central bank rates, will have to fall. But please remember what is going to have to happen for that. So if we go to Bank of Canada, since you guys are asking a lot about Canada, if you go to Bank of Canada, they're going to show you what their policy interest rates are. And so we've seen that for the Bank of Canada specifically, we've seen that the rates have gone up, 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 and then they paused a couple times. Thank you guys for all the likes and the comments and the love. Thank you guys. Please follow us on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. We appreciate it. So we've only raised it 8 times. The United States raised it 9, and tomorrow they're going to raise it again. And every time the United States raises rates and we don't, it's going to cost Canada dearly. Inflation is going to kick Canada's butt, and it's going to continue on more and more. So we're not going to have any pause in the inflation. So I'm going to have to see what's going to happen. But right now, you guys, if you guys follow me, remember that before this, at the end of 2021, I was begging everybody that we talked to, please, please, please lock your rates, lock your rates, lock your rates. And again, everyone that we used, all of our clients were like, nope, we're going variable. Okay. And then I was saying back in February, March, when the war started, sell it, sell your home, sell it, sell it. And everyone, we're going to hang on. We're going to hang on. We're going to hang on. So if you were on the fence before and now prices have gone back up and you believe that this is it, we're through all the hard times. If you believe that, then you're going to get burned again, because the system hasn't made its way through. It's like a giant python eating a pig, and we're just waiting for it to go through its system, and that's just not happening. So, we got to make sure that we're paying attention to this stuff. How can we know if the market crashed? We reached the bottom and it's time to buy. Well, I would say just look at its people's income, interest rate, and that's the house price. Income plus interest rate can only equal 1/3 of the average salary of a town. If it's over that, you shouldn't buy. If it's at that, you should be buying. Montreal Property Services. Is a quarter rate, half rate, or 0.75%? I think it's going to be 0.25% tomorrow. That's what I think. I think it's pretty confidently it's going to be at that number. So thank you guys for the questions. At least I'm not here all alone today. So I appreciate that. So any other questions that I can help you with, or that you're thinking about buying or selling, different types, different areas where you're thinking about buying properties, or what are you thinking? I'd like to know. Time in the market over timing in the market. Well, that sometimes works and it sometimes doesn't. There's a problem overall with that, because if you said that it's the time in the market and you bought in 2007 in the spring, you would have gotten wiped out by the end of the year. As they call your loans, you would have lost everything. And that's a problem. So will prices ever crash in half from where they are now? No, absolutely not. They can't. And the reason why they can never do that is if you just take a look at any country. So let's look up Canada M2 money supply. Okay. Let's take a look at how much money is Canada printing. Yeah, that doesn't look good. Let's go back 10 years. That's straight up. What if we go back 25 years? Straight up. Let's go maximum. It looks like a plane taking off into outer space. Okay, guys. Well, take it down, David. Maybe we're being a little bit too much, right? So let's take a look at maybe the U.S. money supply. How much is the United States printing? Well, guys, it's the same story. Up, up, and away, right to the moon. Print forever. Now, what you're seeing these days is that people are freaking out because they're stopping printing money. This tiny little doodad that you see here on the end that you can't see, that little hook, is what's causing all of this pain. Imagine if they've just brought it back to what it was before 2020. I mean, we would already be in a depression if they did that. So it doesn't really matter what country. You can go choose Switzerland. You can talk to the Euro, Australia. I always joke they're all on the exact same WhatsApp group. So that's why I think there's no way that you're ever going to beat it. It's not possible. These rates are going to continue to go up over and over again. So if you guys want me to look at what are your thoughts on Calgary market for residential and commercial properties, Arslan, I really like it. Alberta is very, very good. So take a look at this. If you take a look at here, this is prices in Toronto and Vancouver up top, and this is Alberta and Calgary. So if you are in this red or blue line, these downward events here that you're seeing, those downward events are bankruptcy events. This is when your loan can get called or you're underwater. Imagine here, you bought a property for $1 million right here, and it turns into worth only 880. The bank can call you and ask for that $100,000 extra. And if you don't, then you can go out of business. This for sure, people are going to get foreclosed on. Absolutely. Without even a doubt. And so this is going to happen more. But how many people here do you think are going to get called on? There's no downhill ski slope here. So Calgary is very safe for you to be buying in Calgary or Alberta. It's fine. But in Toronto, this drop here from 1 million all the way to 840, this is bankruptcy level when you see something like that. So that's really, really cool. If you guys want, you can always come on live here and talk with me. If it's something that you want, we could try to make it work technically. With technology, I'm not sure how it will work out, but we'll give it a shot. All right, man. So let's continue on then. So if we're going to take a look at the Toronto prices where they are today, everybody thinks, is it a good time to buy real estate? Which is also, it's the best question to ask, and it's also the worst question to ask. So if we take a look at it and start breaking it down, the market is not the market. It's thousands of submarkets. So these are all different postal codes and different types of homes. So we could pick one at complete random. You pull up that type of property. This is one area. So let's look at the prices here. In this one area, we're just picking one at by chance here. It's down 16%. 16% in 2 years. Okay, so just try to remember that 16% number for me, okay? That's the average. So let's just try to see what is a detached property doing there. Oh, well, now 19% down. Well, that doesn't sound as good, does it now? Because 19% is more, right? But what happens if we get rid of that? Now we only want to look at condos, for example. How are condos behaving in that one specific area? If you look at condos now are down 21% in that area. My goodness. So what a change, right? And so, if you go through this like I do all the time, you're going to find certain areas will have multiple types of property going up, and you'll also find properties that have multiple prices going down. So the worst I'm normally seeing is 40 to 50% down. The average is about 25% down, but there are a lot of areas that are having like 10% up. Yeah, Josh, unfortunately, this is a private website. It's not available to the public. Can you check M6E for a detached house? Yes, I can. So let's take a look. M6 Edward is what you said, right? M6 Edward, and he wants to look at a detached property. Feel free if you guys want to ask me something. I'm happy to show you at the same time. Detached properties are right here. So detached properties in 2 years are down 20% here. It started at 1.3 million and it's currently sitting at 1,057,000. These are the prices that you got right now. So this is an anomaly. The 1.2, you could have had just a couple properties sell that were 4 or 5 million, 10 million, and it will skew the numbers. So this is going to be an anomaly there. No, it's not. Josh, this is not available to all brokers. It's a private one. All right. Are prices going up, Muhammad? That's a very, very good question. And so if you want to know if prices are going up, the answer is absolutely they are. And so let's take a look. This is all Toronto, completely all Toronto, all condos, all properties, $1 million. Look at that, peaked at 1.1. But look at what's happened since January. The prices have gone from 840 up to 900. So prices are going up right now. And the reason why they're going up is because right here, if you look, the mortgage rates have fallen with the bond rates. And so as it falls, now all of a sudden homes become a lot easier to get. So that's very, very interesting. But if you want to know, are homes going up? this is what we could do. Like, just let's pick a bunch of cities in different areas. We can click British Columbia, maybe Hamilton. What other places do we want? Mississauga, Oakville. Let's pick a lot of places across the country, okay? When you look at it, you should start to see some patterns. When they started printing money, all of the properties were going up in all the cities. As they started to raise interest rates, you'll see all of these lines coming down here. And so all properties are dropping. And now that interest rates have gone down, home prices are going up. Look at the curl at Hamilton. Look at the curl here going up in British Columbia. Look at it going up, going up, going up, going up. Everywhere you go, it is all turning upwards because mortgage rates are going down. So, yes, this is the one lever that they have. It's turn the economy on, turn it off with just interest rates. I'm getting a question for Windsor. I'm getting a question for L7A. So let's take a look at that. Let's do Windsor while I have this one up, and then I'm going to do L7A for our friend here. Windsor is, it used to trade like a satellite city, but it totally is not, like London would be. So we're going to keep Mississauga in here for reference, but here is Windsor. So as you can see, as they lowered the rates, if we look back to 2020, right? 2020, you see Toronto was going up like most places, and Windsor was staying pretty level. 16, it started going up like crazy. Look at that. It doubled in price in 4 years. And then it rocketed up when they put 0% interest rates. So you'll see that it mirrors it, but it's just not as manic depressive as Toronto or Vancouver, let's say New York or San Francisco, for example. So they'll all mirror each other, all to lesser extents. So Windsor is on your radar. That's good. That's very good. So if you want to look at, we got a question for L7A. Let's take a look at L7A. L7A. Thank you guys for all the questions. Really appreciate it. It makes me feel not so lonely. So L7A, if you look in the past 2 years, it is down 25%. 25%. Property prices dropped from 1.4 million, and now they're sitting at 1 million. So that is a large, large drop. Woo! But look what's happened since January. 974 up to 1,050,000. I did a whole video on YouTube talking about this because I wanted you to see what the difference is in prices. And this is all because of interest rates going down. It's the only reason. What about house prices in Wasaga Beach? Do you have a postal code for me for Wasaga? If not, let me see what I can do. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head if I had a Wasaga. Let me try something, okay? Otherwise, you can give me a postal code and I'll see what I can come up with. I don't know if I have enough information. Wasaga Beach, I do. I have 300 properties in there, my friend. This is for 211. Looking up Mississauga in Wasaga Beach. This is north of Toronto. In the past 2 years, property prices are down 14%. And so they dropped from 850,000. Currently, they're selling for 700. So if I was going to go back and look at this chart, I already know right away what we're looking at is because 755 and this 775, these two are anomalies. So this happens a lot in areas where we have very expensive properties as well as entry-level properties where it can skew the numbers. But if we took out that anomaly and looked at where it was in January at 671 up to 700, that would make more sense for me. But that's where we're sitting at right now. Montreal Property Services, he's asking, what about the United States? So United States has higher interest rates than we have today, and they're going to be raising those interest rates tomorrow by another 0.25%, almost guaranteed. So if they're raising them in the United States, remember the United States dollar on the DXY gets more valuable, which means the Canadian dollar goes down. And because Canada imports almost everything from the United States and from overseas, which is judged in US dollars, our inflation goes up every single time. that the United States raises. And this is why United States and Canada always raise the rates together. And so home prices in the United States, they're not going up like Canada is right now because they're keep raising those interest rates. Whitby L1P will go higher in the next year. Well, I hope so. I hope for you, Roman, if you own a property. 211, you said you're very welcome. Thoughts on Halifax, Nova Scotia? Well, let's take a look at how Halifax is behaving. We look at Halifax quite often. Let's pull up Halifax. Here we go. So this is Windsor in the blue. This is Halifax right here. So we see Halifax, before they started printing, home prices were 300 and now they're 500. So people's wages have not gone up 75%, but home prices have. And so for Halifax, I've looked at it several times. It's not a place for us to invest right now. Right now, instead of Halifax, I would be investing like in Fredericton or St. John or something like that, or Saskatchewan or Alberta if you were in Canada. If you're looking at the United States, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida Panhandle, Kentucky, there's other places to go. Oh, Rome, you're saying no, you meant to check it, and will it be going higher or lower? Okay, yeah, I could do that too. So let's check this out. This is for Rome. He wants to know how properties are going to behave in his area code that I'm assuming that you're in, L1P. Let's check it out. And you guys, please give me a bunch of likes. Make your fingers bleed a little bit. It really helps out the algorithm, and it lets me know that I'm doing a good job for you guys anyway. Thank you guys for following us. Again, if you want to sell your property, this is what we specialize in. Here's my ugly mug right here, but you can go to sellhigher.ca. This is where you can sell your home for more money, faster, and less hassle, and it's a free consultation. Just put your name and phone number, and one of our team members will be out to you in no time. So we're going to look up his area code inside of L1P, L1 Papa right here. And so as you see this, it is down 30%. 30%. So prices were at 1.473. And then now it's down to 1,023,000. So this is a big drop, a big drop. So this is what I can tell you is when you're finding an area that has dropped 30% or 40%, it now is in a zone where it might be a good time to buy. When you find a different area here that might be at only 10% down, it's not down enough to convince you to buy with the rates being what they are. You need to see a punishment in the price for it to be worth it for you to buy something with a higher interest rate. Good place to invest in Northern Ontario? No, I wouldn't do that. For Rome, inside of L1P, where you are today, we're expecting those home prices to be continuing down for the rest of the year. We should be down another 10% at least on properties moving forward, but we can take a look at that as time goes on. So let's take a look. We have somebody that's asking about Northern Ontario. Let's also keep in mind, we'll just keep one for reference, and maybe we'll pull in Sudbury and Sault Ste. Marie. That's both Northern Ontario. Let's take a look at what's happening there. So if we want to keep Mississauga in play here, just so that we understand what some very, very hyperbolic markets are, we can see them shooting way up and a big crash down. But Sudbury and Sault Ste. Marie haven't had that the same. So from the start of money printing, Sault Ste. Marie at 160 is now sitting at 275. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that is a lot. You're still talking 40% up or something, and people's salaries have not gone up that much. So a lot of people that want to buy rental properties, they keep on thinking, well, I can't buy a property for 200,000 in Toronto, but you're not going to. You're going to have to go outside of your area for something like that. I got some other questions coming in. Thank you, guys. But American dollars, yes, you have to buy American properties with American dollars. Isn't that crazy? L7T is the next question. If we can look that up. Absolutely, let's look that up. Again, on YouTube, you guys, if you have any questions, please fire away. That's what I'm here for. L7, T like tango is what you're looking for. Let's see what we can find you for L7T. L7T right there. So look at how sawtooth this was. So you kind of have to measure a 1.27. So that's 1.3 million. It fell all the way down to what? 720. My God. From peak to trough there, you're talking about a drop of like 40%. Unbelievable. But there was a huge spike this year from 720 to 910. So, what are we always saying is if you find an area where the property prices have adjusted enough, then you might want to buy it. In this case, from 1277, 1.3 down to 910, that's a big drop. You should now consider moving into areas that have been punished a lot on properties. LOJ is the next question, and then L7A. Yeah, I got you both. Keep those questions coming, and we'll continue doing this. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for the likes and the questions. Not leaving me lonely here tonight. I'm going to continue to help you best I can. Please go to sellhigher.ca. Sellhigher.ca. It's a free consultation with us if you're thinking about selling your property. So for Toronto median prices, we're looking for LOJ is the next one that we want to look at. L0J. J. What is the sold prices? Yeah, we can help you with that. So sold prices. So this would make me want to dig into this a little bit more inside of LOJ. Number one, I already know because of the price ranges. All the areas that we run into, when we look at the certain area codes, they'll have some higher price properties and lower price properties. And this does not fit the bill whatsoever. So LOJ would have to do a lot more work. Can you tell me what is the size of property and what kind? Is it a detached property? Because you see here, it went from 1.4 million up to $3 million. That does not make any sense whatsoever in a rising interest rate. So you could see some big spikes like this 4 million. We could have had just a couple homes at 10 million sell that would fudge the numbers. So we have to be more specific with that one. So LOJ, can you write LOJ detached 4 bedrooms or something like that for me? And then I'm just going to move on. Now we're going to look up L7A. L7A is the next one. Generally, we can get a really good idea of an area, but sometimes we have to be more specific. We can actually drill down to the size of condo or this type of property. It's just when we're on live, there's a lot of people waiting, and I don't usually have the time to do that. If you want a personal one, you could always reach out to us. So inside of L7A, in the past 2 years, down 25%, and it is now selling for $1,050,000. At the peak, it was 1.4 million. So it has dropped a lot. Woo! That is crazy. All right, so we got L5N that is coming up next. That's what we want. Again, on YouTube, Instagram, if you guys want any questions, please let me know. So if we go over to this one, L5N. L5N. So in the past 2 years, property prices are down 16%. As you can see, a lot of areas are down 40%, or they might be down 16%, or they're plus. So you want to be buying in the areas that are minus 40%, and you do not want to be buying in this zone. In this zone, you want to be selling. That's where you have an advantage. So properties inside of L5N, 1.2 million, currently selling for 991, which is a mill. So this is down less than the average, which is a good thing. We have been, you said immigrants want Toronto. Yeah, but immigrants can't afford Toronto as a whole. The majority of the immigrants that are coming in are refugees, a lot from Ukraine, and they're not coming in with $400,000 to put down on a home. I'm trying to sell and move towards Kitchener or somewhere close to it. Any ideas which cities? Well, I would move to the city that you like if you had the money. If you don't, you've got to move to the city that you can afford. And so, the farther you are away from Toronto, the cheaper it's going to be. In the old days, Kitchener and Waterloo used to be a lot cheaper. So let's just say that let's say what you're saying, you want to move towards Kitchener. So if we just pull up some different cities, let's just say Cambridge, for example, we're going to pick Kitchener and Waterloo. What other towns? Maybe Guelph, Kitchener, Waterloo. Maybe we'll pick up Guelph. Okay, let's just take a look at which markets are behaving or not behaving. Let's say so. Number one, the first one. Well, there's Oakville, Ontario. Sorry, Ontario. Ontario, look at that. The average price is 1 million at the very top. The second one down is Guelph. The next ones down are Cambridge and Kitchener are tied. I know that you're having trouble seeing it, but these two blues are the same. Cambridge and Kitchener and Waterloo, all three of them, they're exactly the same. So you've got to be seeing that they're all behaving the same. It looks like a kid taped 3 pens together and drew the same lines. So as they print money, all prices go up. The tide rises all ships. As they increase the interest rates, the tide pulls down everybody and drowns them all. And now they're all curling upwards again. So you got to move to the town that you can afford. This is the big thing. This is the big thing. I would move to a faraway place if you can. How do immigrants have so much money? They usually don't. They usually don't have a lot of money. It's usually the governments that will pay for their rent for 5 years or something like that, which buoys up the rental market. Do you think this trend will persist past the peak period as well as other markets, Ontario? Yes. Well, the trend of down, not the trend of up. Montreal properties. You want me to look up Montreal? Absolutely, my friend. Okay, let's see Montreal. Let's see where it's sitting, you guys. Here is Montreal. So before they started printing in Montreal, average home price was 380. Again, this is the entire Montreal region, you guys. This is not downtown. The entire Montreal region, okay? 380, and now it's sitting at 511. So you can see that these markets that are even close to Toronto are very manic depressive, okay? This is a lot more stable. And so if you were looking at this, Montreal is where you would want to live. Will interest rates reduce by next year, or when is my guess? Well, interest rates will go down 100%, 1000% when something bad happens. So think of what happens for the interest rates to go down. 2020 had to happen. Everybody's getting sick, or we had to remember 2011, 2001, where planes went into buildings. 2008, we were hours away from world catastrophe. That level has to happen. And so my question to you is, do you think that level is happening right now? No, it's not. So it's not going to happen for a while. Ontario market within the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year prediction. Well, we don't have to make too many predictions here. Prices are going to be going down as more and more people become insolvent. Look at this, as they were raising rates, prices were just falling and falling and falling, kept going down. And because rates temporarily went down, now prices are going like crazy. But are they going down? The central bank of Canada and the United States, those rates are just going up and up and up. And they're not going down. It's only because the amount of commission that they want at the local banks has caused this. So this is just a temporary thing. It's a temporary blip. You're going to have this downward pressure even more. User 222, you said, honestly, even though you pay more taxes in Quebec, the cost of living is so much lower than it's worth it. It really, really depends what tax bracket you're in. Quebec is very, very socialist. And so they charge more taxes than anywhere else. So if you're in the lower bracket or you have children, they do pay very well for children. It's well, but if you get into a higher bracket, it's not very good. What we could do is we could pull up Quebec, and not central Quebec. We looked up the greater Montreal one, right? But I don't think there is Quebec as a whole versus Ontario as a whole. Is there? There is a Quebec as a whole, but I mean, I would guess these are going to be very, very level. Yeah, there you go. Look at this. So there is Montreal at this dark blue line. This one here is Quebec, the composite, and this is Quebec City and the surroundings. So Guys, where do you want to live? Do you want to live like this is right here in 2017, and right here is a bankruptcy event that's going to crash your prices. That's going to wipe you out. These are not wipe you out. Look at this in Quebec here, 329 all the way down to 304. Whoop-de-doo. So these are very, very, very safe on prices, but people don't like them because they're not in the news. Look at this. Imagine your home price going from 600,000 all the way up to 1.1 million in a couple of years, doubling your money. I mean, this is exciting stuff, right? But now they're going to bankruptcy court. It's tough. So we're going to see a bunch of this stuff that's going to be playing out in the markets. It's going to be interesting. So remember, if you guys want and you're thinking of selling your properties, please go to sellhigher.ca. This is where we sell your homes for more money, faster, and less hassle. And why we do this is when we're looking at property prices, we have to know in each area. We use a lot of technology when we're selling properties. How we do so is we can look at every single property. Imagine here in this area code, 1,263 homes have sold in LT 9T. Say you were telling me that, David, this is a detached property that you want to sell. We can choose just detached properties, not including the other types. We can also choose, like, maybe you're only going to be in a 4-bedroom. So we can pick apart the prices really well inside of a certain area code, detached properties, 4 bedrooms, and see exactly how much they're going down. 18% right here from peak 1.7 all the way down to 135. It's important for us to know where the prices are. It's important for us to know the direction of prices, that the prices are going up right now, and understand why that is. In addition to that, we got to know how easy is it to sell. So when we're looking at these properties, look at this. Just 2 months ago, it was taking 30 days in order to sell a property. Today, it's taking 15 days to sell a property. I mean, that's incredible. So we got to beat that. If you work with someone like me, we got to sell it in 8 days or 10 days. I want to do everything better and faster and make more money for my clients every single time we do that. So it's important to know what our targets are so that when we're running ads on Facebook, on Instagram and stuff, we're not going to be too slow with that. In addition, how do you price your property if it's worth $1 million? It's very important to know in your certain region, and if it's detached or not, how are people pricing the properties? Look, today, people are buying the property for almost exactly what they purchased it for. What this number means is if your property was worth $1 million, you would be selling it for average of $998,700. So if the home was worth $1 million, you would list it for $1 million and give them $1,000 off. This is what's happening. And this is important for us to know, because once we move into different sections of Toronto or different areas around Ontario, we got to sell properties a different way. So imagine last year when properties were selling for 15% over, 20% over what we would list it at. So if it was $1 million property, we would only be listing the home for 800,000. Make sense? So we got to know those pieces of information, and there's no other way except to data mine. And so this is why you need to work with a realtor who knows what he's doing. Myself, I'm a broker, and we got a lot of tools to help you out with that. So if you go to Rough Team Realty, this is my site for some buyers who are looking to buy properties. If you go into the buyers here, there's a lot of things that you can help. We also have the home buying course that you can have on how to buy your first home and make a lot more money on it. We also have a bunch of calculators. These are free. So you can figure out what your transfer taxes are and what your mortgage payments are. So let's just say that you had $1 million home, for example, and you had $1 million home and you were going to put 20% down both times. Okay. We're going to do a direct comparison. Now, let's say we're going to, just to keep it even, both 25 years. Last year, we were able to get a 2% mortgage very easily. Today, we're going to have to pay a lot more than that. We're going to probably have to pay 5%, something like that. And so if you want to know the difference between $1 million home last year, exact same price, exact same down payment, exact same amortization, the difference of the interest rates are going to move your payment from 3,300 to 4,600. which means you got to make a lot more money, right? So $1,300. Remember, that means you have to make now an extra $4,500 per month for that payment. Now that also means that extra 45 over the course of a year, you got to make an extra $50,000 a year to afford the difference of the payment. So do you have that money? That's the question. Do you make another $50,000? Because if you don't, you could be in trouble in a situation like this. Don't you have to be a real estate agent for 2 years to be a broker? Yes, that's correct. In order to be a real estate broker, it's different than being a real estate agent. And so, if you are a real estate agent, it's just your regular courses. To be a broker, it's more courses, it's more insurance that you have to pay, it's a different license, and you have different privileges and responsibilities. And you have to be, if you're a broker, you can have agents working for you. Mortgage is a scam. Well, imagine the money that you are paying out, like at 6%, 5%, you're almost paying the same value. So over the course of a loan, $1 million house will net the companies $1 million in mortgages. But where does the majority of that money go? The majority of that money goes directly to the Bank of Canada or the Federal Reserve in the United States. Uh, TKO Bets. So I used to be an agent, correct? Yes. Now I am a real estate broker. So that's just a different level. And right now, what we specialize in is selling properties. We mine a lot of tech. We use AI. We use a lot of technology in order to sell homes for people faster and for more money. And that's what we do. Uh, and so we do sometimes have buyers, but we really like to focus on the area that we deliver the most value. And so where we are today is a very, very different day than where we were a few years ago. In that, really, 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 there's a difference in the market today, and the market is demanding different things. So the market is demanding a lot higher expertise, and it's really hard to be honest these days. So if you are a selling agent, if you're just selling, okay, if you're going to sell a property and you're only working with buyers, all you need is a car. You're going to drive around and open doors for people. They're going to walk in, and that's it. But when you're going to sell a property, it's a lot more work. You have to have knowledge of Instagram and their platforms and Google search platforms and having your ads running on YouTube. You have to have a lot more negotiations. You have to have an entire team working for you on how to build websites. I mean, like, it is crazy, the learning curve to get into that. So selling, it really requires a lot more skill at the end of the day. Um, all right, guys. So, do you guys have any other areas of Toronto that you want me to look at? If you guys have any more areas of Toronto that you want me to look at, I'd be happy to show them to you before I head out. Cool. All right. So, these are the property prices in this area. Do you find numbers not making sense nowadays? Hard to find, hardly no cash flows. Well, this is the thing. Every single property, 100% of properties are cash flow positive. 100%. Is that crazy? No, it's not. Not crazy at all. And why is that? Is because mortgages are a choice. Mortgages are a choice. You don't have to have a mortgage. All right, you guys. So you guys want me to look up one more area. So let's see if I can look up. I'm just going to pull this one up. Think about some other areas. We've got L4Y. Do I sell Sudbury homes? If you are trying to sell your property, yes, we can help you. If you're looking to buy a property in Sudbury, no, I don't do that. My property does not cash flow anymore. So you can also put more money down on that property to make sure that it's going to cash flow for you. It depends if you have the cash on the side or not. You might be eating it right now, to be honest. You might be into some trouble and that you're having to fork money out of your hard earned savings just to be able to put that in there. I mean, that could be tough too. On YouTube, you guys, if you guys want to add anything, let me know, and happy to show you some different properties if you want. We have a request coming in for, which one was this? L4Y. Let's pull this up for you, okay? L4Y. We want to look at the average price. I mean, that's what everyone normally wants to know. Look at L4Y, you guys. That's pretty stinking good in the past 12 months, but let's back it up for just so that we have all of 2022. So if we look at L4Y, the price is topped out at 1.3 million and currently selling for 935,000. So I mean that's a big peak to trough from 1.34 million down to 935,000. That's a big drop. So when you see prices like that, you got to start figuring out for yourself where are we in the cycle. And so you guys got to understand that the US is going to be raising rates tomorrow, which is going to create a lot more inflation in Canada, which may or may not make them have a response. We all know that the Bank of Canada is not really doing very much these days. They are freezing their rates. Where was my right here? They have frozen the rates over the last two sessions. So let's try and see where they're going to come up after that. All right, we got another request coming in for L7A. Let's try and look at L7A. We'll pull that one up for you. L7 Alpha. This is for Nanu. So properties in L7A, price is topped out at 1.4 million. Currently, they're selling for $1 million, $1,050,000. So you have to thank the dear Lord for those Silicon Valley banks and everything crashing, because home prices have gone up since that has happened, right? By quite a bit. $75,000. I did a whole YouTube video on this on how Silicon Valley Bank gave $50,000 to every single person. So this is fantastic if you're thinking of selling your property. It's amazing. So if you were thinking of selling your property, obviously you can go to sellhigher.ca, sellhigher.ca. It's a free consultation with my team. Somebody is asking about Montreal. It's very good because we have it up here already. We've had a lot of people asking about Montreal today. So this blue up here is the Ontario Composite, Guelph, Kitchener, and Waterloo, and Cambridge. So you can see them all in this southwestern part of Ontario. The prices have gone a huge shoot up, huge shoot down, right? But if you want to look at Montreal, look at this for Montreal. Home prices, as they started printing at 384,000, they topped out on an average of 550, and now it's at 511. So you have seen a rise, right? And across Quebec, this is the rest of Quebec here, Quebec City and Quebec as an average. So you could see Quebec as not participating in the psycho-ness that Ontario had, right? Where it's gone up and down like that. I bought a semi for 920K. Is a good time to sell. Nanu. So Nanu's asking me a question. Well, let's reference this, you guys. Let's do this together. Nanu bought a semi for 920,000 inside of L7A. Let's be more specific, okay? We're going to go pull up just his types of properties. He said he is in a semi-detached. So let's look at semi-detached prices all over the place. Okay, so L7A, this is specific to Nanu, and he's looking at a semi-detached property. Prices are down 19%. 19%. And so you have seen prices just since the beginning of the year go from 880 up to a million. No, 980 up to $1,050,000. So that is going to give you a bonus of 70,000. You're kind of right on the cusp right now because the average in Toronto is 25%. 20 to 25 depending on your area. So you're going to see a lot of people float down from higher prices down into the lower priced units. This is going to be an entry level unit. But what we're expecting for the rest of the year, I'm expecting to see another 10 to 15% drop in prices. And that is going to be the average, big properties, low properties, and condos over the course of the year. We're going to have quite a bit more bank problems. Mike Hicks, he's asking, where do you move to if you plan to sell? Okay. Well, I mean, this is a good question, you guys. So number one, you could sell a big property and you can move into a condo possibly, or move into a small townhouse or something like that. So let's try to take a gamut. Most people live in cities in Canada, but let's just try to take a big swath. Winnipeg, Victoria, maybe Sault Ste. Marie. Let's take St. John's, for example. We want to pick different ones. Let's pick Quinte, West, that's a good one. Maybe Niagara Falls is where you want to go. We're obviously going to take Toronto and Vancouver. You want to go with the one that has at the bottom line. You want to be at those lower ones. Cambridge, Calgary. Let's pick that. Barrie. Okay, we're going to pick a whole whack of them. So if you sell your property in an expensive city and move to a cheap one, this is when you win. So I don't even know the names of them. Okay, see how there's no names, but really, realistically, if you could sell the properties that would be in these ones and move into the cities that are down here with lower prices and way less volatility, that's what you should be doing, especially if you're in your retirement. This is a bankruptcy zone for most properties. So what are they? Okay, let's look. Greater Toronto, number 1. Greater Vancouver is number 2. Victoria, Barrie, Cambridge. These guys are all the top offenders. So where are these ones? St. John, Sault Ste. Marie, Winnipeg, Calgary, Quinte West. So this is what I would say is that it doesn't matter what cities that we reference. You should be getting rid of the properties that are at the high end and buying it into the low end with less volatility. This is more structural inflation. This is more demand inflation. So commute from the Soo to my office on the Danforth every day? No, Mike. Okay, so if he's living in Toronto, you guys, so I would say that you just have to downsize the amount of space that you're in. That's the easiest way. I mean, if you were in a 2-bedroom, can you get into a 1-bedroom? If you're in a detached home, can you move down to a townhouse? Or can you figure out a way to work remotely and work anywhere in Canada? Because if you are getting paid in, what are these guys again? If you're getting paid in Vancouver dollars, but you're only spending Winnipeg dollars, then you win. Also, if home prices go down farther, which they will over the course of the year, as home prices fall farther, then it could get you in a lot more trouble. You could also sell your property, rent for a year, and buy when prices come down more. If you remember, I was telling people over here, fix your rate, fix your rate, fix your rate every time I was online. And all through this slide for the year, I was saying, sell your house, sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it. And now prices were dropping $10,000 a week for 6 months. Just kind of crazy, right? All right, you guys. Thank you very much. Facebook, Instagram. Thank you very much, YouTube, for coming on. Thank you very much, TikTok, you guys, for all your questions. Hopefully, I gave you a lot of value today. If you want to sell your property, which is what we specialize in, please go to sellhigher.ca, where you can sell your home for more money, faster, and less hassle. And you can do that by getting a free consultation. All right, you guys. Well, I wish you the very, very, very best. I hope that you have a fantastic day. Thank you guys for all the questions. Keep on crushing it. Be careful, because remember that book, Only the Paranoid Survive. If you've never read that book, I suggest that you do. If you want to, just go to my YouTube channel, Rough Team Realty. I did a complete breakdown of that entire book so that you don't have to read the book. I read it for you. All right. I wish you guys the best. Have a fantastic day. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the support.